our official 2024 Georgia football season predictions today on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Just so you know, today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate GM. Ultimate GM, fantastic place to be. If you don't know about them, you will know about them very soon.
Oh, you'll know.
Please. You'll know. Daniel, we are talking about our official predictions for Georgia.
This is a fun day. It's a fun day today because the season is here. We're going to be watching football games on Saturday, Clint. Like real college football games. Yeah, real is a stretch. But we're going to be watching Georgia Tech play football in Ireland on Saturday, which is every fan's dream. Football season is here. We're going game by game. We're going to give you our official predictions for the season win-loss record for the Georgia Bulldogs. And we're going to help you make a little money if you stay tuned to the second and third segments. Because season win total locks are here.
Where you make your money.
This is it. This is the time you make an investment now and it pays dividends for you later. So, let's start with Georgia, though, Clint. We talked best case scenarios, worst case scenarios yesterday on the podcast. We both agreed that 12-0 is the best case scenario regular season for Georgia. We both agreed that 8-4, right? Is that what you said? 8-4. That's your worst case scenario. 8-4.
My worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario for both of us. 8-4 on the season, and so. None of that matters because we don't live in hypothetical worlds.
Who cares about that, Daniel?
We're not Tennessee fans who
print their
coffee table books about their hypothetical national number one rankings
about coffee tables.
That's right. It's got little legs. It folds out. We're talking about what we actually think is going to happen today, and so let's just real quick. Let's go game by game, and
let's do it.
We may not have the same predictions here, but we're each going to go game by game. We're going to give you what we genuinely believe is going to happen.
Yeah. This is not us doing it. We're talking about what we actually believe.
Yeah. All right, Clemson, game 1. I've got to win, and I would say if I were going to rank my confidence in this win. Good. I think at this point, I'm like a solid 8. I'm not that anxious about this game. I feel pretty confident that Georgia's going to walk into Mercedes-Benz and walk out with a win. I feel pretty good about this one.
Even with Roderick out.
Yeah.
Even with Etienne likely suspended.
Yeah. The whole game? Will he be suspended the whole game or the first half? Smile. Will he be suspended for the first half? Will he be suspended for the whole game? Warren Brinson, is he going to play? There's a lot of questions. You know who doesn't have any questions? Carson freaking Beck.
There he is.
He's going to be just fine. He's going to come out there. Cash Jones could win us this game. You mentioned
I didn't mention
and Roderick. Cash Jones could win us this game. I think I like the chances of our defense coming out making a statement game 1. I got it down for a win. Put me in an 8 confidence.
Call my shot. The thing I'm confident in is Clemson will not score more than 13 points in this game. Yeah. That's what I'm confident about. And Carson Beck, we fine. Game 2, Tennessee Tech, Georgia.
Tennessee Tech is a win. Obviously, Kentucky. That's a win. Even in Lexington, that's a win. To me, it's a 9 out of 10. If Tennessee Tech is a 10 out of 10, Kentucky's a 9 out of 10. I just don't think there's any way that this Kentucky team beats Georgia. Are you feeling some Kentucky anxiety that you normally feel, Clint?
Every year, Stoops gets my respect and makes me think it's going to be 9-12 game in the rain, slugging it out every single year. Not this year, Daniel. The only thing Kentucky has, couple of good defensive ends at Kentucky. Their defensive line pretty stout.
Yep.
I'm fine with our left tackle. I'm fine with our right tackle. By that point, we're going to be healthy and whole at running back, and they don't have the manpower at wide receiver or at quarterback or at running back to compete with us.
Who's the middle linebacker going to be trying to tackle them running backs for Kentucky, Clint? Okay, so we're going into the first bye 3-0. We both have that, Clint. What's going to happen in Tuscaloosa on the 20th of September?
We go to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Yo, I genuinely believe this is not me puffing my Marler. This is not me puffing my chest.
He's a South Carolina fan. We don't play them this year.
We don't play South. I'm so sorry. I apologize. He's South Carolina. I think we eke out a win in Tuscaloosa. I think Carson Beck takes us in the fourth quarter and ekes out a win in the fourth quarter. I know they're talented. I think we have the linebackers and the erasers and the speed now to not neutralize Milroe, because again, he is a physical specimen that could run, but contain him enough to where Carson Beck, their DBs can't keep up with Carson Beck. And that's what's going to win the game in the fourth quarter. I genuinely believe we win this game in Tuscaloosa.
I got an L. In Tuscaloosa. It's been a long off season, and I have gone from 10 out of 10 confident we were going to win this game to about 8 out of 10 confident that we're going to lose this game. I'm not saying it's the only loss I have on the schedule, but I will tell you this. It is by far the most confident loss that I have on the schedule for Georgia. This is the game that I think gets Georgia. Kalen DeBoer is a terrible long-term hire for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And he has systematically dismantled Nick Saban's entire philosophy this offseason. Talk to anybody around the Alabama program. It's like, well, you can't believe how different it is around here. That's not what you want to hear.
It's not what you want to hear.
But he's a really good football coach, and he's got good players, and I think we're going to lose. All right. I got us beating Auburn at home. I'm not worried about Hugh Freeze. I think we learned our lesson against the mobile quarterback last year. I'm not at all concerned about Auburn. I'm not at all concerned about Mississippi State at all. Mississippi State Mississippi State is worse than Vanderbilt. So I'm not concerned about that. So now Georgia goes to the second big road test of the season. It is at Texas. And I'll just tell you this, Clint, I got to win. I got Georgia going to Austin and picking up a win. I don't know, as the season has gone on, or as we've gotten closer and closer to the season, as the off season's going on, I should say, I have come to believe that Alabama has a much better chance of being the second best team in the SEC than Texas does. And I don't even think at Texas is Georgia's second toughest game on the schedule.
We're going to come back after this, and we're going to hear more about that. But first, these. And these are Ibotta. Listen, right now, you're taking a dream vacation. Summer is going to go ahead and wind down. Before you do, get out there on the road for the final time before your kids start school, before you get back to work. It's summertime, which means it's barbecue season as well. Stop by on grilling favorites, earn cash back every time, because Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash every time you shop, earning on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you are purchasing. You can save now on over 2,400 brands, shopping over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege in the App Store. It's fantastic. You need it. Just go to the App Store, Google Play Store, and download its free Ibotta app to start earning cash back, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege. That's Ibotta at the Google Play or App Store, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Daniel hinted, he said, we take the win in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to sound ridiculous. I already said I truly believe we go into Tuscaloosa and we win, which, by the way, we win that Tuscaloosa game. I think the momentum for the entire season and the narrative changes. I don't think Kirby's going to sleepwalk into Auburn because it's Auburn. I don't think Kirby sleepwalks on any game that doesn't happen at Georgia. Well, it happened that one time, Austin Peay or whatnot. But besides that, I think the loss of 2 running backs for Texas. We were playing them weeks into the season.
Yeah.
First SEC schedule for Texas. This ain't what you're used to, Sark. This is the first time you got to just play absolute behemoths in the trenches, and you're down 2 running backs already.
It's a pretty easy schedule, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I hear you.
Okay, go look at what his schedule was before.
I hear you.
Look at what his schedule. It's an easy schedule. I agree with you, but it's the SEC still to this day. They're still got talented players. Coaching may not be on the level, but I think we roll into Austin and we take a W as well. Daniel,
this guy, I think just Georgia homer, my guy over here, Georgia Georgia homer, Clint Shamlin.
Legitimately, if those 2 running backs weren't injured, this would be a different story for me. Honestly,
we're doing Don't Sleep On tomorrow for the Georgia season, but I'm just going to throw out a little SEC Don't Sleep On. Don't sleep on when Georgia goes to play Texas in Austin. Don't sleep on Arch Manning being the starting quarterback for Texas at the beginning of the game.
This is what yes.
And Quinn Ewers not being hurt.
Completely agree.
All right. Georgia, Florida. Georgia's going to beat the crap out of Florida this year. So
Dub.
We're done talking about that. And
best talent in the nation.
Then Georgia goes to Ole Miss, and I'll just tell you this, Clint, I've got a win against the Ole Miss Rebels. I think Georgia's going to go into Oxford. I think Ole Miss is going to be a different looking team this year. They've played the rent a team. You know, Lane Kiffin's gone out and he's tried to rent himself a winner, and I think he's got some really good players. But I think people are talking about the players they added. And not enough people are talking about the players they lost. I think Ole Miss's inability to consistently run the ball is going to be their Achilles heel, especially against teams like Georgia. And I like our pass rush this year a lot. I mean, I'll know a lot more about it by week 9, but I like our pass rush a lot. And so I got a win in Oxford. How about you?
I don't care about Prince. I don't care about Jackson Dart. I don't care about any of them. Lane does, in fact, I respect Lane a ton as an offensive play caller, y'all, just a ton. I do not respect this roster. They lost too many pieces. They did not bring in enough. I got a win as well. Ole Miss. I got Georgia going perfect so far, Daniel. Which brings us to November 16th. Tennessee comes into town, Daniel. This is interesting. Tennessee ranked very high, getting a lot of love, getting a lot of SEC predictions, a lot of playoff predictions for Tennessee, ranked very high. They're getting attention. Are you giving them attention, Daniel?
This is Georgia's. I know it's at home. This is Georgia's second hardest game on the schedule. This is it right here. At Alabama, week 4, week 5. And then at home against Tennessee. Those are Georgia's 2 toughest games. It's not Nico that worries me. It's this Tennessee defensive line. Tennessee has got maybe the best front 7 in the SEC. They've got a real team, and I think they're going to be a real problem in the SEC this year. The only reason I have Georgia winning this game is because it's at home and Sanford Stadium is going to carry them. But my confidence is like a 2 or a 3 that Georgia's going to get this win. But I am chalking it up to a win. So I have Georgia still with just the 1 loss. How about you?
This is the first loss that I have Georgia taking this year. It's not against Alabama. It's not against Tennessee. Or I'm sorry, not against Texas, but it's exactly what you listed. Daniel, it is at home, which is going to help us out a great deal. This is a coin flip for me. We have the better quarterback. We have the better offense. I think as a whole, the better defense. And yet,
I don't know that we will have the better offense this year. We definitely have the better quarterback. It remains to be seen whether or not we have the better offense.
I think as much as I give him flack, Josh Whipple has the ability to go get, he's a bucket getter when he needs to. And I think if we saw a repeat of what happened Tennessee 3 years ago, where they stormed out to a lead, Daniel, the first quarter, and then we were able to come back and stop them after that. I think their defense, if they get a lead, can neutralize us enough where it's a dogfight going down to the end. And so this is the first loss. It's at home. There's 2 other road games in the SEC that are better. But we just came off of cocktail party, which we have all the confidence in the world. But tell me the cocktail party don't get sideways sometimes, Daniel, in a real. Okay.
Absolutely it does.
And then we go to Ole Miss back-to-back weeks coming off a bye week, Daniel.
Yeah. And Texas right before that bye. It's not
so we have Texas bye week, our biggest rivalry where things get sideways down in Florida neutral site. We have to go to the Grove, which I think Lane is saving some. He is going to go if he beats Kirby, he don't care about beating Alabama. He does, but Kirby's the head honcho now.
That's the new Saban.
That's the new Saban. Lane is going to give us all we can. I think we stave that off, but I think just the war of attrition and law of averages catches up, and I do take us catching an L at home, which is not going to make many of our fans listening happy.
Listen, there's people in the comments right now going, well, Josh Heupel can't score 20 against Kirby Smart. He's never scored 20 points against Kirby Smart. Listen to me. He may not have to score 20 points to win this game. He can score 17. Tennessee's defense is going to be.
Score 17, and if we are thin at running back.
I'm not buying in necessarily to the hype of this freshman quarterback or whatever that everybody's buying into, but I think Tennessee's got a real team. We obviously have wins against UMass and win against home at Georgia Tech, so we both have Georgia going 11-1.
Correct. I
got us losing to Alabama, you guys losing to Tennessee. More likely undefeated or 10-2?
I have to say 10-2 is more likely.
I think 10-2 is also more likely because I told you I got Georgia beating Tennessee by the narrowest of margins. If Georgia wins that Alabama game, I'll tell you, I'll
tell you what I'm booking.
Yeah, you book some flights. Start booking flights because
Atlanta, here I come.
Things are happening. All right, we've got season win totals for every across all conferences. Our best bets of the college football season coming up right after this.
Look, I talked about Ultimate GM at the beginning of it. It's fantastic. You need to go get there right now. Hey, Locked On Bulldogs fans, you know that you need to get heads up right now on mobile gaming. That is so much fun to do, and I love it as well. That's Ultimate College Football Head Coach. It's an amazing game that simulates you get to step into the shoes of a head coach and lead your college football program to glory. Can you imagine actually being the head coach of Georgia? You get to be Kirby Smart for a hot minute. You get to stare down stupid reporters as they ask questions and mug face them all day long. Here's what I really love about the game. You are responsible for calling offensive plays during the games. Your strategy will not only determine the success of your football season, but will shape the future legacy of your program. Ultimate College Football Head Coach is completely free, has no ads, and 100% playable offline. You can play on the go when you want. And of course, we have a special offer for Locked On Bulldogs fans. Use the promo code Locked On CFB, all caps, CFB, all caps, Locked On, inside the game store and receive a free boost to your program. Make sure you take advantage of this perk. Download the app, the game. Just visit ultimate-cfb.com, ultimatecfb.com, or look it up in the App Store. Ultimate College Football Head Coach. Begin your coaching legacy today. Season win totals, Daniel. This is beautiful. This is fantastic. Let's start. Where do you want to start with this? You want to start with Georgia? Get the season win. I mean, we told people likely.
Well, it's 11-1. I ain't betting the over 10.5. We both just said 10-2 is more likely than undefeated.
There we go.
I do have 11-1 as the most likely outcome, and so if you go over the 10.5, like I wouldn't hate it, but you're gonna have to pay some juice to do so. I don't love it, and so right now I would stay away from Georgia. How many do you have that you're gonna encourage the people to partake in?
I got a few I'm cooking of right now, Daniel. I mean,
okay. I think I've got at least 4, possibly 5.
I think 4 is where I was going to land, but I got two on the hook, Daniel, that I'm feeling pretty good about. So
I'm going to start in the Big Ten if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
I'm going to give you 2 overs in the Big Ten. One of them is not going to surprise anybody. It's Ohio State. Ohio State's really good. If you're a Georgia fan and you feel the need to defend the fact that Ohio State's not really good, you should get a life because Ohio State's really good. Georgia's also really good. Those things are both true. Ohio State does play a much easier schedule than Georgia, however. And unless you think that Penn State, I said Penn State,
there it is
going to beat Ohio State. Spoiler alert, they are not. Then you take this over 10.5. I think there's a chance. I think Ohio State is a live team on the road against Oregon. That is by far their most losable game. But I don't think there's anybody else on the schedule. Michigan, they are not losing to Michigan another
not
year.
Again.
Not
if they do.
All
Ryan Day is fired immediately.
Chip Kelly will be promoted to active head coach immediately. They are not losing to Penn State. They're not losing to Michigan. Oregon is the only game on the schedule that's going to give him any problems. And therefore, over 10.5 is an absolute cakewalk. And now I'm going to go a little bit more off the beaten path. It's dangerous, but I mentioned it a few days ago. Do I like betting on Iowa?
You don't.
You don't like it. No one likes it. Okay. But Iowa's win total is at 8.5 right now.
It's a low number.
And I think, like, let me just ask you this, Clint. Does Iowa win 9 games?
Yeah. Iowa wins 9
that's
games.
what I don't even just mean this year. They just
games.
Figure out a way to win 9 games. That's what Iowa does. You look at this schedule. You look at the teams in the Big Ten that Iowa avoids. I don't know if Cade McNamara and the Iowa offense is going to be any better. They fired Brian Ferentz, so it cannot be any worse. Clint,
I'm telling you.
Clint,
I'm just telling you.
Cannot be any worse. Let me tell you what I do know. I do know that Iowa's defense is going to carry them to 7 or 8 wins. Like, correct. I don't need very much out of this offense in order to get to 9. I think Iowa is live for 11-1 this year. I think 10-2 is a completely reasonable thought for this Iowa Hawkeyes team if you look at the schedule. So if I can get over 8.5, I'm taking that all day. So give me the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Ohio State is, in fact, my first lock. Guys, talk about a cakewalk. They are cakewalk in the cakewalk. It is an easy schedule. They're going to be fine. They're going to roll through it. I heard somebody today say that they're probably not going to give up a touchdown in the first 6 games. Like, and that's, you look at the schedule and you're like, oh, okay. That might be the case. It's real bad. Second team, as I look down and I think about who I'm just confident in, Florida State, 9.5. I count 3 L's on Florida State's schedule. I'm going to tell you what the Florida State Seminoles are up against. By the way, DJ Uiagalelei is who they have at quarterback.
No, I heard of him.
Remember that.
I was told that he died in Charlotte 3 years ago. And so I'm unclear how he's still playing quarterback.
They have to go to Notre Dame. They have to go to Miami Hard Rock Casino. Is just
that's not a home stadium.
No, it's not a home stadium. But Clemson, Florida State plays at Miami, at Notre Dame. Those 3 right there, I could take it up. I think Florida State legitimately has a chance to lose this Saturday against Georgia Tech.
I will be taking Georgia Tech on the money line just as with a little bit of you get them at plus 350 right now.
Go.
I will be
hammer
just a little bit on there.
Those are 4 games right there, and 9.5 is their win total. Give me the under on Florida State all day long. Over on Ohio State. Dan, I'm going to keep going because here's my third. Virginia Tech's a pretty dang good team this year. They got a quarterback that's mobile, can run around.
They may do it.
Their schedule is favorable. Vanderbilt, Marshall, Old Dominion, Rutgers, Miami. Sure, take a loss there. That's a go-to Stanford cross-country trip. That really stinks. But their next biggest opponent, Syracuse and then Clemson. Daniel, the season win total for them is not that high. It's not like we're talking all of a sudden about Florida State here, right? We're talking 8.5 wins. I listed 3 games right there that I think they might lose. They might take one of those. That's 9 wins right there. Give me the over on Virginia Tech.
I don't hate that. I am going to stay away from it because Virginia Tech's one of those teams just finds ways to lose to bad teams.
They do.
So
right.
I'm going to stay away
Marshall
from it.
might be a loss for them.
It was for Notre Dame. I am going to go to another Big Ten team that's not really a Big Ten team. It's the Washington Huskies. And their win total is 6.5. Let me tell you how Washington starts the season. Weber State, Eastern Michigan, Washington State, that's a shell of their former self.
They lost their Cam and he's gone. It's bad.
And Northwestern. Washington is going to sleepwalk to 4-0.
It's great
in this schedule.
I love it.
I'm still taking the under 6.5 for the Washington Huskies because you look at the back half of this schedule. Michigan, that's a certified guaranteed L. Iowa, certified guaranteed L at Iowa. USC, same. Penn State, same. Oregon, same. So now you have Rutgers, Indiana, and UCLA. All I need is for Washington to lose one of those games. Just one of them. I think they're probably going to lose 2 of them, Clint. Washington lost a lot. I think Jed Fish is a decent enough coach coming up from Arizona. Yeah. But I'm going to take the Huskies to go under 6.5 in the first year in the Big Ten.
I love that, Daniel. I'm going to give you one more lock that I feel really good about.
Okay.
And then I'm still, depending on where you're going to go, I might jump in the water with you.
I'm going to get to the part of the show where I start to hurt people next. So you go ahead.
Cal 6.5 is their win total. I truly think Cal has a favorable schedule with who they're playing. I think they have a couple of
noted ACC team, Cal.
I don't know if we all understand what just happened, but yes, the Atlantic Coast.
People aren't ready. People aren't ready for college football this year.
Look, UC Davis, San Diego State, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is not the same team that they were. Good. Wake Forest, Oregon State, Syracuse, SMU. SMU's a good squad.
Not good.
They're not good, but I'm telling you right now, Cal doesn't. It's 6.5 wins right now. I could see what I'm saying is 5 very good in my favor. Couple of coin flips. I'm going to take Cal for the over of 6.5. Daniel.
I don't hate it. I'm going to go to TCU, Sonny Dykes. Okay. Remember 2 years ago, TCU was in the national championship game. Are you familiar? Are you aware of that?
I rewatched it just the other day.
It's nice. It's real nice.
Real nice.
Their win total is 7.5, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have no idea why.
How, Daniel?
TCU was awful last year, and I look at what they did in the offseason. I know they feel okay about their quarterback. I don't think they did anything to get any better.
They didn't.
I think they might lose to Stanford on the first Friday night of the season, Clint. I legitimately believe that could be an L, but even if that's a win, I think they're going to lose to UCF, who's on their schedule. I think they're going to lose to SMU, who's on their schedule. I know they're going to lose to teams like Kansas, Utah, Oklahoma State, Arizona. There's too many losses on this schedule for 7.5 win total. I know that they get some good, they get some good draws, right? They play Houston in the Big 12. They play Baylor. That's a bad team in the Big 12. They play Cincinnati, who's probably going to be a bad team. But there's just too many losses for a team like that. Let me tell you a team that people are chalking up too many losses for this season. There has not been a single team that SEC fans especially have been more excited to write off this year than the Florida Gators. And I'm here to tell you
the win total, because this is a insanely low win total.
It's 4.5.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Okay. Florida is better than Florida was last year. Let's just say objectively true things. Florida is better than Florida was last year. They returned Graham Mertz at quarterback. They really only lose the Pearsall kid off the offense and a guy named ETN that left the program to go to greener pastures. So the offense is essentially back. The defense is going to be better than it was last year. And Florida, like 4.5 wins. Like Florida plays Samford. They play Mississippi State. They play UCF. I'm not saying, I know that's a challenging game. They play Kentucky at home. They play Florida State to end the season. I think Florida could win that game as well. Like there are wins on this schedule. I think Florida could beat Miami in week 1. And let me just tell you this. You might not want to play the Florida season-long win total over 4.5. If you'd like a different strategy, just sprinkle a little bit on that money line. Florida at home against a Miami team that might be really overrated because they're coached by Mario Cristobal.
That's the one. That's the one, Daniel. I'm going to give you one. You mentioned them a little earlier as you were talking about TCU. Kansas is winning more than they are losing this year. Kansas, Daniel, is a good squad. 8.5.
Kansas is a good team now.
Kansas is a good team now. 8.5 is the total. So which means they only 4 L's. Lindenwood, no. Illinois, no. UNLV, no. West Virginia. West Virginia is a good squad right now, by the way. Just it's at home. Yeah. It's up where they make beer in bathtubs. I understand. It's going to be rowdy up there. TCU, the aforementioned. Arizona State, who knows what they're going to have down there? Arizona's a good squad. Arizona, maybe not. Arizona State, maybe not. Houston. Okay, of those right there, I'm feeling pretty confident. And then you go to the back half. Kansas State, Iowa State, not the same. BYU's not the same. Colorado, not the same. And then end with Baylor, not the same.
That's a good schedule.
It's a great schedule, Daniel, for 8.5 wins. Give me the over on that. Daniel and I are going to be back tomorrow talking more Georgia Bulldogs because we are for fans by fans. We love you guys. Thanks for being loyal 30-second listeners, and thank you for your first listen of the day. Every day, as we appreciate you. We will see you guys then.
See ya.